Are you on TikTok? I know some of us are. Some of us aren't. Some of us have deep hatred for the app. But there's a trend on there that I want to talk about. Let's keep calm and mother on. Mothering is way too important to do alone and way too serious to be serious all the time. My name is Christy Thomas, and I am here shoulder to shoulder with you, mothering and enjoying life together. This is the podcast where you can focus on being mindful and taking a deep breath with me and learning new things so you can pause and savor the amazing life you already have. Okay, so the hack, the viral trend I want to talk about from TikTok. Is it a dance? It's not a fashion. It's not even a book, but I do get lots of good book recommendations. I don't use TikTok often, but I do have it. It's mostly a search engine for me. And what I do is search hashtags. And right now, the one that keeps coming up for me is the dopamine menu. And as I listen to people talk about this, I'm like, aha! This is what I mean by how to take care of yourself all day long. So I really want to talk about it because it's a little bit unclear who actually created it. It may have been started by the ADHD YouTuber, How to ADHD, Jessica. But I'm not really sure. It's a little bit unclear because that's how trends go. When I looked up dopamine, though, in her book, How to ADHD, she explains that dopamine is a neurotransmitter that motivates and reinforces behavior. When something is pleasurable, dopamine is the feel-good neurotransmitter that is released that says, let's do that again. Okay? The brain might also release anticipatory dopamine when you're getting excited to hype up about something that you know is going to feel good. Okay? So it's important to pay attention to your dopamine because dopamine levels also shape our perception of life, Jessica says, our emotions and how capable we perceive ourselves to be. When dopamine levels are low, we feel unmotivated, derive less pleasure from everyday tasks, and are physically tired. So our brains need stimulation. And, taking care of ourselves all day long through simple acts of self-care so you can be the happiest mom you know is how to do that. And thanks to TikTok, I have an idea that you can make with your kids. You can just post it on your fridge. You can put it on your phone, wherever it is. This is like a physical assignment that I want you to do. And I want you to make a dopamine menu. Now remember, dopamine is that neurotransmitter that releases happiness inside of you, okay? So if you're feeling like you're not sure what brings you joy, we're going to break it down into different categories. When you sit down at your favorite restaurant, yes, a sit-down restaurant, okay? The first thing they're going to ask you for is, would you like an appetizer? And so let's start there. Dopamine appetizers are tiny tasks that are 5 minutes or less that just bring you joy. So a dance party, it could be stretching. It could be calling a friend. It could be reading a poem, writing a letter, playing a game, making a list. Maybe if you really like grocery shopping and you're going to daydream about a baked good you want to make, okay? It could be painting your nails, practicing a new makeup strategy that you wanted to do, pulling some weeds, okay? Here, so appetizers, tiny starters, right? So I say 5 minutes. When I Google it, some other people say 10 minutes. But just know it's something simple. It's a quick boost of joy. And in early motherhood, these were the things that I did the most. With kids under feet, I could hold a yoga pose. I could do a couple yoga poses while they were at the playground. And that was a dopamine appetizer for me. I could doodle at the same time my kids were doodling, right? I could have my kids give me a massage by driving race cars on my back, and I could make funny sound effects. I could play with my kiddo that way. We could also play a lot of card games. We always had card games and dice in the car just for these moments of connection. Because really, what you're noticing so far is that this dopamine menu is to be anti-doom scroll. And as we edge towards the 2024 election and the news gets louder and the stress of school shootings gets louder and the holiday season, whatever it is, your dopamine menu helps you remember the amazing life you already have. So if you're with intention, what other things could you do before you pick up that miniature computer that you call a phone with social media? Okay, so appetizers. Think about it. Then you're going to write it down, and we're going to turn this into an arts and crafts project. But first, we're just brainstorming. The next one is the mains, right? Like your main dish. What do you want for your main dish? These are the big passions that we have in life that take up a little bit more time, maybe an hour or 2 hours. Maybe it's something like a hike through the woods or a long cycle ride or trying new restaurants or going to an art museum. Maybe it's time to sit down and read a book. Okay. But it's something that you can mostly do in your normal life, but you don't reach for it often because you know it takes time. Maybe it is planting a garden, right? Not just weeding and tending a garden that's already there, but like making a new one. It's a big passion. For me, sometimes painting can feel like this, that it takes up more than an appetizer. And so that hump to get started, maybe it's learning pickleball and going pickleballing, okay? There are lots of ways that you can boost your dopamine, but we're just going to write them all down because when it comes to the time that you're going to pick up your phone and doom scroll, your brain is going to be like, yep, that's the neural pathway I have here. That's the path of least resistance. And we're trying to interrupt it. We're trying to interrupt our lives with stubborn gladness and joy. Okay? So we've got our appetizers. We have our mains, our big passions. And then, of course, when you order a main dish, right? You always have the opportunity usually to add some sides. And now sides for the dopamine menu are super easy. Okay. These are the things that you can do while you have to do a boring, ordinary task. So it's like playing classical music that you like in the background. Or maybe it's not classical for you. Maybe it's like some awesome Eminem rap or something like that. Whatever it is. Music can be a side dish to folding laundry. Lighting a candle can be a side dish. Having a teeny piece of chocolate could be a side dish, right? Phoning a friend while you're doing the task. FaceTiming a family member. Asking one of your kids to do it with you so you have companionship. Okay? Side dishes. How can you make something you're dreading, like boring adult paperwork, into something that's better? Remember when we had my finance friend on here, Money Fit Moms? She talked about how her financial meetings with her husband, her once a week talk, involved having a beer, that each of them had a nice drink while they did it. Okay? That's what made the conversation flow better. It was more enjoyable when they added that to it instead of all business. So they made it relaxing, got into a cozy spot, and got to work, talking about their dreams and money. So side dishes go along with other tasks so you can increase your joy. Also key for motherhood. Like, this is why I like to buy new moms or moms that are changing lots of diaper, nice soap and lotion, right? Change the diaper, wash your hands, put on the soap or put on the lotion that smells good. Maybe it's having the lipstick for your car. So when you're about to run out the errand, you know that you have a way that you look presentable. Aside for me often is making sure I have earrings that I enjoy so that I feel ready for the day. Okay? Simple things that go along with the other task of adulting. Okay, so we've got starters, appetizers, we've got mains, we've got sides, and then we have desserts. Desserts are those things that we need moderation for, right? They're tasty, but if we have too much of it, they don't taste so great anymore. Yeah. Or maybe you're lactose intolerant, so you love eating ice cream, but you know if you have too much, no one else is going to like you later. So for me, this is an example of a dessert is playing Animal Crossing with one of my kids. It's a video game. I know a couple of my friends way into TV more than I am, and they have TV shows they like to binge together. Desserts are just big dopamine boosts. They're gonna make us feel like, wow, this is amazing. But too much of it leads us trapped there, right? Like too many binge watching of the shows makes you not feel too good. Too many hours of video games makes you not feel good. You know, desserts can also be, if you're like into shopping, I could see desserts shopping being a dopamine dessert if you use shopping to get a rush. So just be careful with the desserts, that they can be a quick rush, but doesn't feel good if we have too much of them. And finally, we have specials. So when you sit down at the restaurant, sometimes they say, would you like this special? Like the last time I went out for a nice meal, they said, yes, we have some scallops on special today. So they're not always available. They cost a little bit more sometimes, but these are like planning a family vacation, planning a trip to a sports game, buying tickets to a concert. It's a special event. Maybe it's a haunted house or an apple orchard since it's fall. Something that takes effort of driving a little bit, buying tickets. It's like out of the ordinary. So think of that as special. But I want to encourage you to make your own dopamine menu. And I want you to see it often. And I want you to make it fancy on a piece of paper. Like arts and crafts this up or use Canva. I mean, you can just use a Google Doc if that's what feels good to you. But for me, there is a dopamine in making it. So I will post what mine looks like on Friday when this episode comes out. I'm recording this a couple of days early. Just know that you are in charge of finding your own joy. Your family may make desserts or special events or even main dishes feel a little bit complicated sometimes, depending on the season you're in. But modeling joy, knowing that there is stubborn gladness beating inside of you with every breath you take, that you can find something to look forward to in the next moment, is huge for our mental health. And because you are the mother probably listening to this, that is huge for the rest of the family around you. Having something to hang on to that's positive and hopeful, we need you to have that. We need you to have a strong why in life, that your kids are so much love, but we need you to have other hobbies too. Because as I'm sitting here on the other side of my oldest kid's 18th birthday, these babies don't keep. So work on yourself. Take yourself seriously and make a dopamine menu so you can practice being fully human. Because you get to be fully human and nurture yourself. You don't have to just doom scroll social media or play video games or binge TVs. Your life can be so much richer. Ready? Want to sigh again? Inhale. Exhale. And your self-care activity and your family fun activity is the same today. If you have kids that are, let's say, 3rd grade and above, I would really like you to do this activity with them. Maybe it can be a family craft night, or you can do it one-on-one and take them out on special dates. But talk about dopamine and talk about how your brain needs stimulation and how right now technology companies are really doing their best to make it so they are the ones giving you dopamine, but how life is so much bigger and how you really want them to have this full, wild, and wonderful life. I'm so glad you are here on Earth, mothering shoulder to shoulder with me. I hope you have a fantastic day. You have always been exactly the right mom for your kiddos. Peace to you.